1 year has passed. Get a little glimpse into the future, just to make sure that you know that he hasn't fucked it up completely. He's not a hated figure a year later.
They're finally reopening that mage academy that got closed
Oh,
down.
nice.
You don't say. The famous one deep in the Monterio Mountains. Really? I'm impressed. It only took them a year.
They've even paved a proper mountain road. And get this, the headmistress is none other than Lady Juno.
Nice.
What?
She did
The
used to
songstress?
attend.
Well, she is one of the king's 6 partisans.
She did drop out, but still.
If she managed to help save the world from Louise, I expect she knows a thing or two about magic. Sounds like they plan to fully open the magic researcher's findings to the people, too. Quite a turn from when the late Sanctifex banned it.
Makes sense to me. After the clash between His Majesty and Luis last year, everyone knows you don't really need an igniter to use magic.
And that's just today's news. It's surprise after surprise, ever since us church folk got the boot from the palace.
Hard to believe it's already been a full year. Only natural that there would still be unrest among the people.
Even the royal knights. Their leadership was bound to the church more than anything, and now he's out on his ear too. And replaced by Sir Haisme Noctoul, no less.
Nice.
You believe that? The royal knights, led by a Uchief of all things. Though he's one of the 6 partisans himself. When he speaks, everyone listens. No one's about to complain.
Even Parliament now invites citizen representatives to hearings. Strange to think we'd been deaf to the voice of the people until now. It's unbelievable, compared to the days of the autocrats. How swiftly the times change, eh?
Credit where it's due. I think it's thanks to His young majesty. Remember last year's coronation? Unprecedented, that. Saw heroes of all different tribes celebrating the king's victory. Celebrating among the common folk, even. They tell me some of the younger aristocrats have taken to calling it the Great Reconciliation. It really is a tragedy, what happened to his father, the king. But considering how his sons turned out, I hope he's at peace.
Indeed. Yet the real test is still to come. The first year has seen a lot of good, but we've still got our share of problems.
People are smiling more now, but smiles won't solve the multitude of problems we still face.
Speaking of His Majesty, I've also heard some folks saying they've seen a boy wandering around these parts who looks just like him. You don't suppose?
Ah, can't be. Without his escorts? Besides, what business would a king have in this place?
Suppose you're right.
Surely. Cutscene.
Mountains upon mountains of appeals from the people. How many days will this
Oh,
take
wow.
to sort?
New white outfit, eh?
After all the trouble you took to flee politics.
Bro's got a hat.
And somehow you're now the preeminent ladyship of your house. Such is fate.
Despite everything, this year has passed in surprising peace, hasn't it? Honestly, with the royal scepter disappearing like that, I feared more dissent.
Perhaps after Luis, they swore they could never let that happen again. Either way, more and more are dealing with conflicts calmly and openly. Promising.
It promises that I'll have an eternally cluttered desk.
Here, Your Majesty. I've brought in the next load.
Lol.
And there we go. Not half bad, right? Hey, isn't the king supposed to be here?
When did he? I've said countless times not to leave unannounced.
Oh, all this decoration doesn't suit me. How would Louise and Forden put up with all this damn finery? Your Majesty? Are you
Oh,
here?
love those
Juno's back
looks.
from her inspection.
Apologies, Troll. I'll look for him now.
Wait, I'm coming with you. Oh, good grief.
Oh, she's got a full witch's hat. Oh,
Some
right.
things
I
never
didn't realize.
change.
Obviously, I noticed that it was a hat. I didn't realize it
So
was a
life has
witch's
changed
hat
plenty for us.
for the Magic Academy.
And somehow our captain's same as he ever was.
This is the final shot, isn't it? Oh, man. Oh, no, there's more. Okay, okay. I thought they were going to end it there.
I might have got a bit too fresh with them stuck-up sanctists. But those bloody church folk been looking down on us for years, you know? Still, it was other sanctists what stepped in to keep things peaceable too. I reckon they're not all bad. Guess me cog's turning. They lost both their Santifex and the Saint Lady last year. Got their own struggles, I expect.
As authority weakens, power falls to the hands of those who have never wielded it. We must ensure it does not corrupt and give rise to new conflict.
Not like it excuses all of them or makes me want to go up and shake a sanctor's hand, but you really put some perspective on it.
You'll come to understand them.
I believe you'll come to understand them.
You know what, lad? You're all right. You ever need some good honest work? I'll get you squared, eh?
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. I'm glad to see more optimism in the world. Still, it will take more than that to effect true change.
I should have known you'd be wandering around without your escorts again. How is it, being able to hear the
Want to
city's
wander on
voice?
upstairs?
If you told them you're the king, it'd knock them sideways. Sorry you ended up coming all this way. Maria's actually out on an errand right now.
I'll wait until she comes back. Also, would Maria like a brother?
And I suppose I'll wait until she comes back.
You sure? That girl always ends up on detours. No telling how long she'll be. Either way, let's keep your head down. You know what happens when you're too obvious about this. Sooner or later, the lady captain of the Royal Guard.
Oh, there you are. I knew we'd find you here, for crying out loud.
Hello.
Phew. So you were here.
Speak of the devil.
Let us return, Your Majesty. And I thought I had informed you that Juno would be back from her expedition today.
I'll go back soon.
I have a few stops left in the city, though.
You do know I practically sprinted out the gates to find you. To settled, I shall come with you on every excursion.
Not dressed like that, you won't. You know how we like snooping around, inconspicuously.
Point taken.
He'll be fine. His Majesty is not about to fall prey to some alleyway scoundrel, surely. Right, Your Majesty. If you see Maria about, do slow down for a chat. She'll be shattered if she finds out she just missed you.
Fine. Now, Your Majesty, once your business here is finished, please make sure you return to the palace with all swiftness.
Okay. Do I get to actually run around, like, gameplay run around? Am I going to be going to talk to all my followers again or something?
All right.
Maria, where are you?
Let's go.
This reminds me of the first time Maria went missing. It seems so long ago now. She might be praying in the Grand Cathedral just like back then. Before heading for the Grand Cathedral, why not go talk to everyone else first? They're all in the royal capital to prepare for the new year, so let's find them.
Hey?
Cool, okay. Well, we will not do Hulkenberg first like last time then. 95. Will the First. The young king who earned the people's trust and ascended the throne after meeting the lofty requirements of the magic set in place by the previous king, Hythlodaeus V. Though oddly enough, the rightful heir to the crown, he values having become king by the people's will and not his lineage. He was not coronated as Hythlodaeus VI, choosing instead to start a new era of kings as Will I. Once a fond reader of his father's fantasy novel that convinced him that the country depicted therein was a utopia, Will eventually eschewed the past and its lost glories and chose to embark instead on a path of a better king. Having achieved uniting the people in the kingdom's recovery from turmoil only a year after his coronation, his true worth as a leader will be put to the test as he moves into the second year of his reign. Euchronia is a united kingdom, a place where people of different lands and cultures live together. In order to be a king whose face is known to them, it may be time for him to set out once again as a traveller, a book that would tell his own story, clutched in hand. Oh, there's another thing. Is it going to be on Luis, maybe? Yeah. Luis's mysterious origins are revealed. He is surprisingly of Elda origin, born in the Elden Sanctum much like Will. After experiencing the arson attack on the sanctum and having faced the overwhelming absurdity of it, he became radicalized, finding disappointment in all other avenues that did not amount to conquering through sheer force. Oh, and more? Mysterious voice. A mysterious voice guiding Will upon awakening to the power of the archetypes, until his eventual revival as the prince. The voice belongs to the late queen of the Elda tribe who used magic to transfer her soul into Gallica on the day the ancient Elden sanctum was set ablaze. In other words, Will's mother. I'm sorry, what? I missed the bit where she transferred her soul into Gallica? Pardon? Oh, did we know that? I feel like I did not know that. So we've been traveling around with our own mum the whole time? King's Six Partisans, a moniker for the allies that accompanied Will on his journey, comprised of Stroll, Hulkenberg, Heisme, Juno, Yufa, and Basilio. After Will's accession to the throne, the collective title gradually came into use, though none seem to be sure of whether it originated from the crown itself or from the people. Refers to their continued support of the prince, which, even after he sustained a blast of dark magic during the duel with Luis in Grand Trad and needed to flee, remained unwavering. Their peerless faith was further demonstrated when the prince returned again to Grand Trad and defeated Luis. The fervent strength of their relationship, though each hail from different tribes, came to be seen as a symbol of hope by all in the kingdom. Nice. Yeah, I do love that it's one of each tribe. Oh, they're not in the party right now, but it's one of each tribe. The only tribe member we don't have in our active party is the rogue tribe, and that's because Grius was our rogue party member. And unfortunately, Grius died. But, yeah. Oi, oi, here's a mug I haven't forgotten. You're the king now, ain't ya? First time I saw you was the night before the royal funeral, if I recall. No offense, but you didn't exactly look like a prince. To think you'd go on to take down the notorious Luis and seize the crown for yourself. I couldn't make up such a story if I tried. But speaking of wild stories, can't you do something about Sunshade Row? What's bothering you? Well, you know the rep old Sunshade Row has. Poor, dirty, but people still struggle to put food on the table here. Have been for a long time. You're a good bloke, and I think you'll make a fine king. But don't think you can just spruce up the place a bit and that'll solve the problem. He doesn't mince his words, but I'm glad he's being honest at least. Indeed. Okay. Well. Let's do them.
You alright, mate?
I wonder if that guy, I guess he's king now, is doing alright. Let's chat with all our friends. How's it going?
Hi there.
Oh, well if it ain't the big man himself. Good timing, mate. I just got back into town myself. Where'd you go?
What a
I'm
dad.
captain of the Seekers Recon team, remember? We travel the world doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And crazy doesn't begin to describe what's beyond the sea. The sights, the magic. Everything's so fantastic, I'm already itching to get back out there. Well, I'm not especially keen on dodging the bloody cannonballs when my ship gets too close. Lots of tension out there, but what country isn't a little tense? Everything from the customs to the way they think is so different my head spins. Makes all the tribal bickering seem right dull if I can speak my mind. But this country's changing for the better. I'm glad I turned over the throne to you. You turned it over?
Hold on.
Yeah, I knew you'd do right by the Parapus, so I bowed out early to give you a fighting chance. Heh, just kidding. All my cohort have found jobs, and some of them have even picked up new skills from being out at sea so long. Hello, voice crack. What?
See you soon, I hope.
I've been speaking for so many hours. But don't you worry your kingly head. I'll have it all whipped up in a report for you. Do something proper kingish with it, yeah?
What do you want to do?
There's still other people we can talk to, but did you want to go see Maria now? No, obviously not. I want to speak with everyone.
Fancy a chat?
Well, if it isn't your majesty, hello there. Even I don't have the pluck to try selling water to the king. Especially considering sales are up. We've got customers from across the tribes now. Although I'm guessing people were just avoiding a Parapus-owned shop before. Damn. Luis was crazy, I learned that firsthand. With the country before, it was riddled with mistakes. I'd like to think that the new king already knows, but frankly, I don't think much has changed in the last year. King or not, he's not that old. I'm sure he's doing his best, but in the end, he's just the old king's son. I don't expect very much of him. Damn. Gotta fucking turn these opinions around.
Young man.
Bom. Bom. I get shivers hearing stories from when the castle was floating in the sky. place was teeming with crystals and monsters. It was no place for a man to enter, no sir. I heard that when the palace came back down, all the monsters had been dried out, like they were statues made of dirt. Rebuilding the place went faster than expected, and I heard they recouped some costs by selling the furnishings inside. Seems like a miracle, doesn't it? Bom, bom.
Welcome.
Ah, your majesty. I was wondering who you might be. I see you're still fond of wandering these parts, like always. I get it, though. I do love the night market myself. Until last year, that is. Then I began to hate it, no thanks to Luis. It was a truly terrible situation all round. And yet, somehow, things have recovered. And I have high hopes they'll be better than ever. as I hopes. Oh, hey! It's fucking Gruiday. What are you doing here?
Huh?
Lady Gruiday? Ah, it's been quite some time, hasn't it, Will? You've matured a great deal in the short year since I last saw you. Rumors of your rule have even reached the Sanctum. Some are kinder than others. Taking the reins of a runaway country must have its share of difficulties. Your face tells me as much. The frail child who could do little more than lie on the brink of death has come so far. Goodness, tears come so easily with old age. I'm grateful for you. I did nothing. You're the one who achieved everything.
But
I'm surprised to see you in Grand Trad, Lady Gruiday. It's a curious thing. I received a rather forceful invitation here, you see, from one of your friends, the girl named Juna. Goodness knows how many times she's already come to visit the Sanctum, seeking instruction on magic. Some of the villagers are rather smitten with her. Same. She declared that if I wouldn't feel welcome coming to Grand Trad, she would have a highway built directly between the capital and the Sanctum. Oh, Juna, and she probably would. So there you have it. Now then, Will, or rather King Will, the 1,000-year seclusion of the Elder tribe may soon come to an end under your guidance, and yet the journey ahead of you will be hard. The dreams you hope to achieve will feel just out of reach. So do stop by and show your face around our forest sometime. Your mother cannot do so herself, but I can whip up some of her favorite dishes in her spirit. Nice. That's great. I'm glad I started walking around chatting to everyone. I'd never known Gruiday was here. That's cool.
Yeah?
Excuse me, aren't you an Elder? Please don't take that the wrong way. I'm just curious. Those three are Elder too, aren't they? I wondered if perhaps you knew them or something. What about them? Isn't it kind of amazing to see Elder in town? That elderly lady in the middle, is floating, for heaven's sake. Is it some sort of igniter? Couldn't be. Then how? Oh, and the other woman's clothes are so beautiful. Goes without saying, but you can't find clothes like that in Grand Trad, can you?
What should I do?
There's something just so incredibly charming about them. Do you think I should try talking to them? You do that, sure. You go right ahead. Oh, how did I miss you? Oh, it's Xanth! Is this motherfucker? What? You're the bastard who... Well, it's been a while anyway. Bastard, was it? I apologise for my impertinence, Your Grace. I was once known as Sergeant Xanth, though I suppose that title carries little weight nowadays. After losing to you, my own men turned on me and threw me into the Oceania Sea. Banter. Awful as all that was, looking back, those events saved my life. I've heard that all those who went with Luis to the Royal Palace in the sky never returned. A world where power is everything. I suppose that would be hell after all. Never thought you would ever inspire me to realise anything, yet here we are. Now I'm spending my days doing charity work as a member of the brigade under Chief Magnus. But I'll never give up on making my way up in the world on my own merits. Matter of fact, I was invited to participate in the Colosseum's games in Briarhaven. When working with the brigade, I helped a nobleman who put in a recommendation for me. It's a brave new world, innit? Give me a year and I'll make sure people know the name Xanth as a fighter that electrifies the audience. Bwahaha! Nice, glad he's turned over a new leaf.
lovely.
Oh my god, it's Milo.
Oh.
Ah, Your Majesty. It's already been a year since you've ascended to the throne, and 1 year since I lost my bid for it. Thinking back, I've no regrets. I'd not have been able to defeat Luis in the end, as you did. That's candid of you. I don't know what I expected, really, but I believe in your power, Your Majesty. Though I'll not acquiesce on all fronts, you know. You needn't look further than your 6 partisans, your merry little band. I can appreciate your faith in your inner circle, but to award them all your key posts, why, one might suspect you of collusion. A country requires views from all walks of life. Or put another way, why not appoint me your Prime Minister? With my guidance, Euchronia would become a land of true beauty. Just when you think he's about to make a decent point, he plays his own angle. Don't lay your guard down around that guy.
Oh.
Salva. Well, if it isn't His Majesty, the Captain of the Royal Guard was looking for you. As a former Guard Captain of the Caradrius, perhaps I should report your whereabouts. Why are you here? I suppose I should reintroduce myself. I'm Salva, in service of the Kingdom and the Captain of the State Army. I parted ways with Luis shortly before his runner made for the Skyborn Royal Palace. When I saw the horror that Sorba had become, I knew the world he wanted was no world of mine. I thought I'd found my place within Luis's private forces after being disgusted by the shameless corruption of the Royal Army, but his true intentions were worse than I could imagine. It was the General who pulled me back in. He said my experience leading a force of mixed tribes would be valuable. I'd only taken the job in hopes of atoning, so it's a strange twist to serve with pride in the State Army I once so detested. Still, I wonder why he bothered with us.
May God keep you, Jack.
I can't overstate how miserable things were because of Luis, but I didn't end up fleeing, perhaps because seeing your Majesty fight stirred a sense of duty within me. I know there are still many who don't approve of you, but I shall do my part to protect the country you lead. It's my duty as your soldier. I wish the country nothing but the best over the coming year.
My oh my.
Howdy, Stroll. We will definitely be chatting with you later. We learned how brittle peace is, as well as the preciousness of a life lost. The peace we've regained could be lost again. We must remain vigilant. Indeed, indeed.
Wonderful.
I miss the days when the face rock was here. Never knew what to expect back then. Joyful one moment, miserable the next. Remember, after Luis was defeated and the king decided... Indeed I do. Suddenly His Majesty's face eclipsed the others for the briefest of moments. Then it all crumbled away like sand. Over a bit too soon after all that palaver, I'd say. I liked his coronation speech, but I can't say he's accomplished much of any importance since then. His strength certainly was incredible during the final battle in Grand Trad, but I wonder what people in the other cities who didn't get to see that sight think of things. Either way, as long as next year is uneventful and peaceful, I'll consider it a win.
Wonderful.
Indeed.
Say,
Anything new here? Makes me nostalgic for our days of candidate debates. It feels like everyone's discussing national politics now, doesn't it? Become a hot topic.
I love it.
wonderful, isn't it?
Hello. Russell, you're here.
Oh, Gallica, and your highness as well. Ah, but it's no longer your title, is it? Excuse my impertinence, your majesty. Still, knowing that the New Year's celebrations were just around the corner, I couldn't resist returning to the capital to see how the kingdom was faring.
Has it been kind to you?
Indeed, I need only look upon their smiling faces to see that. The city feels alive again, and it seems as though the citizens are free to choose their own paths. I must say, I never imagined that I'd return here without all the cloak and shadow. I owe a great deal to the work of Lady Juna. To think I'd be able to see Grand Trad, with His Highness sitting openly upon the throne. Alces, are you seeing this as well?
Yep.
We've got a long way to go, but I know Grius will be watching.
I should tell you, a sizable number of the villagers in the Sanctum have gained an interest in the outside world. I've been acting as sort of their bridge. It seems this doddering old fool has found a new role to find the middle ground for both those who wish to preserve tradition and those who seek innovation.
Yep.
I couldn't think of a better man for the job, Russell. I'm sure you'll be a great help to the village.
I've fought so long to save this country, but seeing all these smiling faces now, I think perhaps I'm the one being saved. This is a country that protects its people, and the late people No, that's from the line below. And the people shape the country in turn. Surely that's the world His late Majesty wished to see. Not to simply chase the ideal of a utopia, but to shape it with their own hands. We've a long way to go, but I trust you'll continue to make this country stronger, Your Majesty.
Nice. Okay, have I missed anyone else?
Wonderful, isn't it?
I think that is everyone here. Oh, wait, no. Did we talk to these guys?
Very good.
Lovely.
Very good indeed.
Ho there!
So tomorrow is finally the day. Have you finished your preparations? Our journey to the Mage Academy in Monterio will be quite long.
Yes, but why are you taking me as your traveling companion? You saw how much I admired Louise, how hostile I was to our faith.
Everyone said foolish things. Faced with national crisis, we clung to power instead of trying to use our power to solve it. But times have changed. The Mage Academy now opens its doors to anyone. No harm will come to those who want to learn there, but alas, my youth has fled me. So I'll use my wealth to ensure others can reach it. Take what you learn there and spread it throughout the kingdom, far and wide. Nice. That is what we call nice. Oh, your majesty, it's been quite some time since we met, but I've never forgotten you. You were a young elder about town, from the recruitment centre to the mausoleum. I watched from the shadows. There are still times when people hurl abuse at me for being Mustari. However, thanks to your majesty, I can run my business with pride. Just goes to show that it's going to take time to eliminate prejudice like that. We've got to keep at it. Oh yeah, oh boy do you. Oh boy do you. Fucking, oh hey. Prejudice fucking always creeps back in. There's always people that refuse to fucking grow and become better versions of themselves, but you hope eventually, over a long, long, long period of time, many generations, things will slowly change.
Right.
Well, if it isn't your majesty, it's been a year since you've ascended the throne, and a quick one at that. Feels like the strife with Luis was but a bad dream. Had you asked me then, I would have been wringing my hands about one so young leading the kingdom, but now, I'm embarrassed to have thought it. You had a keen eye to recognise the danger Luis posed, and a braver still to have fought him. You had a kingly calibre I never truly possessed. Still, a single year is but a drop in the proverbial bucket. Stay vigilant, king.
Oh yeah, I'll just get on those trials right now, yeah. Okay, so I think that's everyone here, so where is Alonso at? He's the one who deceived me most. Howdy.
Pleasure to see you.
Why, hello, your majesty. It's only been a year since your coronation, but I see you've become quite apt at sneaking away from your palatial duties. Under constant fire from knaves of all trades, con artists and critics alike, your opening act has been rather tumultuous, no? It's been tough going, but I'm glad we've managed so far. Quite right. Your critics are loud and open with their barbs, but plenty more have put their faith in you. Besides, most of those agitators are the scum that stirs the pot in hopes that they might benefit from the country's turmoil. Nothing I couldn't handle, of course. All in a day's work for the Royal Adjutant to the Citizens' Council. Quite an ally I've made, I should hope. I wonder if my mother would be the slightest bit proud to see who I've become. That I'm doing my damnedest to use my talents for good, as I always should have. I'm proud to see it. I'm sure she would. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yes.
I hope so. I was such a problem child. I'd like to make this a country where honest folk like my mother can be happy.
Now that you mention it.
Ah, that reminds me. Do you remember Daturum, my hometown's landowner? He told me to send you his regards. He's since confessed his crimes and is awaiting trial. You were the one who awakened his conscience. It makes sense, doesn't it? You've proven your ideals to be true. That's why the country is doing so well. There's nothing more to it. I'm hardly qualified to speak of pride, but if this country has one, it's you, and I am proud to be among its people. Perhaps under your rule, the day will come that even we Nydia can walk about freely in our true forms. Ah, you're curious what I look like from my true form? I'd be happy to oblige, but let's save that for another time, shall we? I mean, we already know what he looks like in his true form because it's the exact. It's just a mini version of what they are now. Like Juno told us that you can't change how you look. It's just a grown-up version essentially. So we basically already know. We can imagine how he'd look.
Oi! The corpses and the people crouching next to him along Sunshade Row seem to have cleared out lately. A frightful thing, really. They seem terrified of something themselves. Made me anxious just to look at them. I do hope they're feeling like themselves again. It'd be nice to think they found their happiness somewhere out there.
This is all right.
Still can't believe it, no matter how many times I see it. The king walking out the honeybee. The city's pretty much back to how it was compared to this time last year. If Luis had ended up king, who knows where we'd be now. There was that old tournament nonsense. Nobody could keep their mouths shut while that was going on. far as a damn fool like me was concerned, the whole lot of you might as well have been telling the truth. You and Luis were just two sides of the same coin. Take no offense, will ya? Not like I can tell a lie from the truth if I tried. Maybe you should work on that.
So, we meet again.
Ah, it's you. It's been quite some time, hasn't it? Ever since the new king's reign, matters have changed a great deal for the tribe's teachings. I feel there's been more people who wish to learn about teachings and culture, much like you once did before. I wish I could say we were free to worship as we pleased, but that's a dream still among the clouds for the moment. And yet, being able to dream it is evidence itself of progress. It is satisfying for now that more people are open-minded like you. Meow. Serious. Okay, we already spoke to him. Right. Serious.
Peace.
It's just too much.
You lived in a giant sandworm to research bugs? Quite right. And gold beetles from all over the kingdom as well. Insects are vital to understanding the essence of magic. And here I thought their only use was disgusting Martyrian cuisine. What a find. Say, what would you say to lending your wisdom to my shop? We can do business in the open now, thanks to the king. I'm gratified by the offer. Another supports my research. Well in, lad. Good stuff. Meow.
This place has really changed.
Your Majesty, what are you doing in this wretched sinkhole of a... It may be better than it was before, but this is still Sunshade Row. It's no place for a king, Your Majesty. Fewer folks are hanging for nothing these days, but there's still no shortage of knaves who'll die at the end of a rope here. As long as there's injustice, there'll be people who think it gives them a free pass, which means there'll be gallows. Last year changed a lot, big and small. I'll hold my post here, hoping the next year's better rather than worse. Will, maybe you should get rid of capital punishment, right? Maybe that should not be a thing.
I'm just incredulous.
Neither Luis nor Forden took the crown. It was an elder of all people. Guess our bets were completely off the mark. Yeah, well, something stinks about it. Magic was at work, so who knows? And did you hear the rumour? They're saying those disgusting humans are our ancestors. Nothing but crazy stories since the new king took the throne. The king held it together this year, but who knows if he'll last another. Wasn't this kid a fucking dickhead? Whoa, Elda, you really became king. King, hey king, oh king. Alright, fuck off, mate. Bom bom bom. You might be king, but nothing will change. You forgot about me. You'll forget I was even here. I won't forget. You actually spoke to me for once. I still don't believe you, though. I've been watching you for a while, for a long time, here in the corner of the city. I hate people who look, see a parapus like me, with no place to go, and pretend they see nothing. Don't forget that.
Nice.
I mean, sure. Why, your majesty, surely your kingliness has no further need of my paltry sums for your mag? Besides, I hear the Mage Academy has been restored. Is it true anyone of any status can attend? Original magic. You trying to end reliance on igniters? Only a matter of time till accumulators like this are obsolete then. I think that's great, personally. It's probably about time to shut this operation down anyway. Not that I expect the Igniter Consortium would let it go without a fight. Lycaon would stand with you, of course, but they're not infallible either.
Nice.
You're kidding.
Oi oi, been a while, no? You must remember me. I'm Sergeant Gletcham the Great. You're drunk as usual. Well, you see, that's the thing. End of the year's a perfect time for a flagon, eh? Then again, every day's a perfect time for a flagon. But you know, I've been trying to cut back, actually. When we lost Fidelio, God rest his soul, drink was the only thing that kept me from going mad.
I guess.
Certainly couldn't follow Luis after that, so leaving the Caradrius was sound. But it's still hard for a parapus to find decent work. Drinking my life away seemed the way to go. I assumed all of us from Luis's side who survived would have been sent straight to the gallows, but letting us join the brigade, well, real generous of you. Not sure I would have fit in anywhere else, speaking plain. Plus, with old Basilio in charge, we're feeling right at home. Now I'm back to drinking for the fun of it, and I owe it all to you, Your Majesty. You're all right. Glad to hear it.
Well.
Oh, Your Majesty, running around Sunshade Row at this time of year, you must have some very particular tastes. I mean, you are also here. Perhaps you've heard. There's unrest across the land as the oppressed are rising up in revolt against their oppressors. Or perhaps that news hasn't reached your walled garden here in Grand Trad. History books may not be so kind to this era. Shouldn't they rise up? Goodness, if I didn't know any better, I'd say you just endorsed rebellion. Don't you realize how your dangerous ideology has become the spark of new threats? The dim-witted of the world only fan the flames with their anxiety, be it people or monsters. To be dissatisfied is in our nature. You should definitely jump off a bridge.
Thank you kindly.
Welcome.
My, if it isn't His Majesty. You always were partial to Sunshade Row, weren't you? I know you've hardly had a chance to warm that throne of yours, but the people here are as poor as they've ever been. Money's the only way anyone gets out. It was big news that the Mage Academy reopened to anyone, but think about it. Only the rich can travel up a mountain. Sorry, I shouldn't talk your ear off about politics. There's a new year to ring in. Looking forward to a more relaxing new year without all the frantic work. Have a happy new year yourself, Your Majesty. I mean, she raises a very valid point. You know, it's like, if you're poor, you have so many fewer opportunities than anyone else, because, like, in that case, you need to have a good bit of money to be able to get yourself up a fucking snowy mountain. Otherwise, it's probably just not going to happen for you. And then, so it's the rich people that get to be educated, and etc, etc. Gee, I wonder if there's any parallels with that in the real world. Surely not. Seems rumours of the king running about in Sunshade Row were true. I've no intention of prying now. Thanks to you, Best in Luis, I'll get to keep running my shop. Wasn't sure I could with the sky turning red there. Not sure we could take another war. What worries you? Nothing in particular. Didn't say that because I think it'll happen. Just that nothing ever goes quite the way you think it will, eh? As long as people worry, people will want weapons. So I guess I'll be in business a good while longer.
Oi there. Oh.
Hey, Your Majesty, listen to this. We just had a guest in the store claiming to be the chief of Etria. He said he wanted ingredients for the withering potion they use on the island. And, how should I put this? That Mistari village chief, he was rather, easy on the eyes, wouldn't you say? Wait, sorry, no, forget about that. I swear I had a point. I wanted to tell you that all sorts of people come visit now, and I enjoy doing business more now than I ever did before. Well, I'm glad to hear it.
Excuse me?
Under the current king, people are finally starting to question the discrimination against the inferior tribes. But tribal friction is deeply rooted in society, so we've got our work cut out for us. Indeed you do.
It's just too much.
Everything's back to normal, except the one thing that mattered. Luis ensured my husband would never come home again. Oh. But I'm grateful for you. You stayed by my side and gave me courage during my darkest hour.
That'd be lovely.
Oh, don't say that. You always cheered me up with your gossip and the funny stories you told. If you're not opposed, I'd like to live on with you. I think together we can deal with whatever comes our way. Yes, you're right. Together we'll make it through, and I'll need your support. Bom, bom. Anyone to speak with here? No. I didn't check down this little bit of the market area. Let me just check these tiny little streets. Did I miss anyone? I did.
Hey, mister.
Even though Luis died, my dad still isn't happy. It's because my mum died and she can't come back. But you know, Mr. King, I've been cooking instead of my mum, and I'm trying real hard. I'm happy to be with my dad, so next year I'm going to work harder than ever. My mum is watching me from the sky, isn't she? Just like your dad, Mr. King.
Stupendous.
Yeah. Heaven is real.
Hey there.
Hello.
Surely. Ah, Your Majesty, it's an honor to meet you at this most auspicious time of year. I know I was quite devoted to Luis at one point. His power was both overwhelming and alluring. Where do you stand now? I'm disgusted by my shallowness, if I'm honest. It's hardly an atonement, but I'll at least try to be straight with you from now on. Not to bring down the mood, but I wanted to mention, I sense something familiar among your supporters. I recognize it because I was the same way. In their eyes, you're a hero who conquered the monstrous Luis. They entrusted you with authority because of your power and their desire to be at peace. Let us assume that the people have expectations not of your ideology, but solely of your power. King or not, failing to see the difference may invite consequences. Please, take it from someone who erred in his ways. The people of this country have not recovered from the unrest, and when they do... ... Can we go into the recruitment center? We can. Anyone in here?
Uh-huh.
I don't have any bounties for you, Your Majesty. We've been at peace for a while, thanks to you, and we're dealing with things one step at a time. Oh, Your Majesty, it's an honor. I've only recently been assigned my post here at the recruitment center, so
Actually, I was sorting through enlistment records from 2 years ago and was surprised to find a certain signature. That's right, your Majesty's signature, and General Stroll's as well. I was quite surprised to discover that the two of you had met here. To think that they deployed the future king in the army. Horrifying. Not like anyone knew I'd be the future king then, so, you know.
Alright then.
It is what it is. Right, next up we have Barden. Wait, he's right outside the door. Do 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 do.
Lovely, that.
Barden.
That's something.
What an unexpected coincidence, Your Majesty. No guards with you today. Don't worry, I'm no tattletale. I myself just left a meeting going over how the provincial governments are doing. We convene for the new year. How are things in Martira? Oh, it's as lively as it used to be, and we owe it all to you, Your Majesty. That dodgy mess you cleaned up for us feels like ancient history now. And I'm pleased to report, as head of the provincial lords, it's nothing but good news reaching my ears. Better relations between towns has employment up and overall welfare too. Each town has specialties and wisdom to offer, and when we combine our heads, there's no problem we can't solve. I just feel so blessed to be part of it. I know I made some blunders when I first stepped into the governor's role, but I'm happy to share my failings so others don't repeat my mistakes. Things are all right now?
But of course.
Indeed they are. The townspeople play an active role in policy and administration, and I'm not bearing that weight alone. Of course, some lords are like I was once, and would rather manage things at their sole discretion than leave things to the people. And yes, taking every matter to public opinion can be laborious, what with all the proceedings and disputes. Still, changing our own lives with our own hands makes the process worth the trouble.
Oh, yeah.
And choosing a king of our own will was all the inspiration we needed for change.
Lovely, that.
I totally forgot to do the accent for like half of that, but oh well. Right, so next up we have Brigitte. Things have changed completely. Bomb. The king himself out browsing the shops? Perhaps I need to draft up a royal certificate of appointment. Tell the world we supply goods to the royal family. Any recommendations? One igniter in particular, in fact. Though I'm afraid we're all sold out of it at the moment. The igniter I made at the children's request, the one that lights up with rainbow colours, is selling startlingly well. The store was packed with families and children. I now hold a position where I control the distribution of all manner of goods throughout the kingdom as the head of the Igniter Consortium. I can't help but think that if I had been in this position sooner, then the church's violence, the tragedy of that village, could have been prevented. Let's focus on the present. It wasn't your fault.
But
I know that. I only rose to this position once you became king and shed light on what lurked in the shadows of this country. Though you can't take full credit, as it were, I was nominated for my new position by my colleagues. Our new king has changed this country for the better. However, as a former arms dealer, it would be naive to think all weapons can ever disappear from this world. It's all the more reason, I hope, that the reasons for people to wield them continue to decline. To that end, I'll continue doing all that I possibly can, with all that I am, just as you do.
Speaking of...
Ah, yes. Do you remember my dog? I found the ones who took her. Naturally, I considered ending their lives. But there she was, sitting beside them. Evidently, they could not bring themselves to harm such a sweet creature, so they decided to keep her instead. I had no choice but to spare their lives. I couldn't subject a gentle dog to the atrocities I'd commit in her name. You should come play with her sometime. I'm sure she remembers you. Nice. Glad that she got her back.
It's a pickle.
Alright, Loveless.
Hey.
What's the word, Your Majesty? Just one question. If I may, when are you going to lower the booze prices in this country? I'm only codding you. I haven't felt much like drinking till I black out so often anymore. After I entered the tournament, I really went through some stuff. I was acting a fool on the world stage, and to you too. I'm grateful, you know. Can't speak for the rest of the country, but you've done right by us, Parapus. We got it better than we ever did. Some chuckleheads out there still try to take their aggression out on us, but they're just venting, probably. I'm sure you'll do something soon enough. Surely. Travelling with Lady Juna sure was fun. But, Your Majesty, what business do you have with a former helmsman like me? What about Juna now? I had the honour of attending to her during an expedition, Actually, I think she's on her way to the palace in order to meet with you. Huh? You didn't hear from Chief Magnus? Lady Juna was off inspecting the Mage Academy, and I was the flight's helmsman. It knocked me on my arse when Lady Juna left Luis's company, you know? I left right after she did. Anyway, still undecided about you being king and all that, but I do appreciate you taking me in, so I'm going to work to repay that favour.
Under control, yeah?
On that note, about time I get back to work. Oh, and don't tell the chief I was shooting the breeze here, eh, your majesty? Don't worry, buddy. I'm relieved that the royal palace has returned to its original location. Even now, there's people who can hardly believe that it was flying about, making its way around the entire kingdom. But I saw it with my own eyes. I witnessed the moment the red light within the king's eyes vanished and the palace returned to the gouged out land it was pulled from. Can we see it from here, or...? No. New.
Ain't this a pickle?
Gab, 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 gab. Oi, Mr. Driver, how long until we depart? I'm bloody eager to get a move on. First Oceania, then Monterio. My cross-country trip starts now. A new chapter in my life.
I may.
Not to ruin your fun, but this carriage doesn't go that far. You know that, right? Lol. Bro thought he was traveling the world.
Ain't this a pickle?
Hello, it's the fucking bitch. What's your final thing to say to me? An elder? Wait, aren't you His Majesty the King? Why would you be in a place like this? I can't be here?
Come on, Fish.
Obviously not. You mock me, Your Majesty. I thought we'd see less of that kind of stuff, but I guess we couldn't expect prejudice against the Elder to disappear overnight. Well, fuck you two.
Dear me.
Tuna! Man, look at that outfit. That was really cute. With the big hat and everything. We will be back to you in the nearest future. Wait, is this the cat?
Wait a sec.
Yeah, isn't that the cat from Academia? If that place was made of magic, how is it here in real life? To say nothing of how he could have survived in a deserted ruin buried in the snow, that shouldn't be possible, right? I just think he's cute.
That's a good kitty.
And yet he's never stopped looking cute. It doesn't bother you at all? You sure are something else. If memory serves, the last king did build himself a study in that Mage Academy. Do you think Academia was styled after that, maybe? I wonder what His Majesty, what more felt when he put this little guy in Academia. The cat tends to himself quietly, utterly impartial to us. Nice.
Aha.
Hello there, Your Majesty the King. I still remember that night in the city when I first laid eyes on you. The evening of the royal funeral. It was the first time I'd ever seen someone from the Elder tribe, and I immediately knew that there was something special about you. And I'd say I was right on the money, hey? Indeed. Indeed you were.
This?
Nope, didn't mean to. We can't slack off on guarding the magla accumulator just because the country's at peace. Rather, that's precisely why we can't. Even if mag dust like this can be abused, we could have another riot on our hands. Powers that shake the world will breed new ambition. Hard to be optimistic about this new regime.
Oh.
I wondered how things were going to end for a while there, but things seemed quite under control now. I'm glad the threatening madman didn't end up king. Still, an upstart from a forgotten tribe has no business slighting the established nobility. Ooh, cope, cope, cope. A king with nothing but flowery speeches and ideals will hit a wall before too long. No different from the last king, really. I like that they are showing plenty of people that have not been swayed by us. Because it would be a bit unrealistic if a large majority of people were like, everything is awesome, everything is awesome. You know? So I'm glad they are showing that, no, it's not all fucking peaches and cream. Behold you lot, we're here. The art of the country. Grand Trad. Wow, I bet even a parapus could find work here now. Suppose it's true what they say. Change the king, the country changes too. Don't get too carried away now. Still plenty folks who'll spit on the ground you walk. Got high hopes for next year, though.
Amazing.
An elder, the king's tribe. Won't catch any bad-mouthing them now. Not openly, anyway. What do you think of the current king? In my opinion, he's a victim of the last one. If you think about it, he used the royal magic to put the whole kingdom in chaos. And that's what caused Luis's rebellion in the first place. Who's the real root of all evil here? I lost a good number of friends to it all. Couldn't bring myself to mourn the death of the last king. Still can't. Yeah, man, it's definitely... That's why. It's because... No. That's not the reason why Luis went crazy, my guy. You moron, can't you see I'm busy? Oh, it's you, Your Majesty. Remember me, do you? Of course.
Well, well, it seems your reputation of remembering even the faces of those in lower ranks is true. Indeed, I am Seba, former maintenance chief of Luis's Gauntlet Runner. I was just examining your Majesty's Gauntlet Runner as part of my research duties. I recall how astonished I was to see her take to the sky the first time. I wanted to get back to my engineer roots, but then Luis started showing his true colors and the Caradrius went down. I've got to say, Your Majesty, you're too soft. We used to be enemies, but you recommended us for the brigade and gave us work anyway. Pretty genius making old Basilio the captain too. Luis's old crew will fall in line like wooden soldiers, though I'm not sure that kind of leniency forges nations. So, off with you, huh? Can't imagine you can afford to waste time on relics like me. Be well, Your Majesty. Oh, I didn't mean to go into it. Whoops. I was trying to talk to the guy out front. Wait, can we take a shit?
Alright.
Oh my god, there's a bonus shit day.
Right.
Yay! Wait, no! We didn't get the fucking boost. No! No! The warehouse was neat and tidy. I didn't find anything. Oh man. Oh man.
Alright then.
Let's go.
Okay, we are almost done. We just got to go back up this side of the street, and then it'll only be main characters after that. Main dialogue thingies. Oh. Your Majesty, do you have something you need with the Gauntlet Runner? All's well here. If it's not overstepping, might I tell you something I've always wanted to say? Do you remember a long time ago when Luis dropped that human on the city? I was actually assigned to duty at the Grand Cathedral that day. The state army was in complete disarray, and us soldiers were absolutely terrified. But it was the rumours about you that kept us afloat in those dark times, Your Majesty. You couldn't go a day without hearing someone insult the lesser tribes. And here comes this group led by some Elda, fighting through the cathedral with no regard for their lives. For you'd only known how much the tales of your heroism and courage gave to the guards that day. I couldn't thank you then, so please allow me to do so now. You truly are a hero king, Your Majesty.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Hey there!
Hiya, boss. Oh, dang, I suppose I shouldn't be speaking to you so casually, huh? Then again, we were rivals, weren't we? And Caden Workshop's the official workshop of the Palace Engineers now. Nice. Not that it's here nor there. Besides, I'm glad you got the crown. Still lots of humans out there you'll have to deal with, and you'll need a gauntlet runner to get to them. Caden Workshop thanks you for your patronage. I love Lena. She's great. One of the best, like, non-major side characters. Oh, I can't believe the owner of this sweet gauntlet runner ended up king. But it helped me come to a decision. In the new year, I'm going to go see even more gauntlet runners. I'm happy for you, man. Peak, truly. I still remember the day I met you last year, Your Majesty. I felt you had a kind heart bothering to listen to an old man's folk tales. A sincere young man loved by fairies finds happiness. Folk tales aren't just tired old stories for dreamers. I'd say they have the power to tell the future sometimes. Though maybe that's giving them a little too much credit. A little too much. Just a little.
You are.
Now who's this? His Royal Majesty the King? What's brought you to my little dive? Come to think of it, I said some rude things to you last year. Told you to keep your elder head down. No hard feelings? Tribal quarrels haven't quieted down here at all. Might even be worse now that everyone's equal in the eyes of the law. But sometimes fists just need to fly. It's not like it was back when the sky was red as blood and death was everywhere. In fact, it's amusing to see new faces around here. It's a good change, I think. I used to meet this old Klamar here. He died about a year ago in the riots. He was so full of himself, always telling me that I was wrong. But you know what? Most other Klamars wouldn't have even bothered speaking with a Parapus like me. That man actually treated me like a person. He was a gruff, mean bastard, no questions about that, but he wasn't a bad person by any means. And me, I suppose I was fond of him, yeah. I liked our little conversations. Now that he's gone, I miss him. Aw. It's you! Ah, is that your Majesty? What fortune to bump into you at the end of the year like this. If there is anything my humble personage may be able to do for you, your radiance, I am at your service. Say but one glorious word and I shall most happily... Okay, laying it on a little thick, aren't we? It's that forked tongue that got you in trouble last time. You hear me? One wrong move and I'm turning you over to Basilio. You've got to turn your life around.
Of course.
The prince has become magnificent indeed.
Boom, boom. Hey, it's Balin! Well, hello there, Your Majesty. As laid back as ever, I see. I myself have been crying like a baby, for I find my position as Chairman of Parliament quite an unfamiliar one. Still, I've considered those open to all parliamentary meetings. Compiling all those opinions is indeed hard work, but work well worth doing.
This fellow.
It won't be easy for those who are at the church's beck and call to change, but I think they've been starting to see what they turned a blind eye to. At least a bit, no? A person who speaks the real truth to the public without yielding to authority. That's what my father and I wish for, a true and proper town crier. This country's turned over a new leaf, but there are still many problems to work out. It seems the rural regions are still suffering from human havoc.
Counting on you.
All I'm saying is we're a long way from utopia. But still, the first step is as important as the last, and we're taking big ones. I am also taking big ones. Every 5 days in the Gauntlet Runner.
Just recently, a sanctor in Briarhaven was brought to judgment. His crime? Using Paribus subjects for atrocious igniter experiments. The church reaffirms its dedication to cracking down on inhumane acts such as these.
Wow, the church is actually owning up to its scandals. The town criers around here sure have changed. Nah, they're just trying to put on a good show for the new king. Doing things like they always have would only send them spiraling further. It's a Denny! How's it going, my guy? Hello there, Your Majesty. It's great to see that you're doing as well as ever. I've just left a meeting with the provincial lords. I also preach the Mastari teachings in various areas where the opportunity arises. Many still push back against such teachings, but that's perfectly fine. The country is well served by different perspectives. Many of the villagers have come around to this too, you know. I think that's because you all face such danger on our behalf. Still, it won't be easy to change the entirety of Euchronia. Its history is embedded deep in its roots. The country is larger, and some people will need all the power you have. The true test of your values has only just begun.
May God keep
All
you,
right.
John.
Good-do. You surveying the city incognito, Your Majesty. Your escorts would be aghast. Not that I think anyone is truly capable of harming you. As you're aware, faith in the Sanctus Church plummeted after our misdeeds were exposed. I admit, we were arrogant and unjust, wicked in custom. But people have found salvation through the church as well. I intend to restore the Sanctus Church to its true purpose, to offer salvation to those in need. As Sanctiarch, and as someone who was saved by the Sanctus faith myself, that's all I can do to return the favour.
May God keep you, John.
Is Sanctiarch like the new highest title?
How about a fortune?
Oh my, has His Majesty come to have his fortune told? Ho ho, I jest, of course. I believe you've become acquainted with the Chief of Etria. I was able to speak with him for just a moment. He's a truly outstanding figure in both ability and insight. As a fortune teller, I still have much to learn. Indeed, he can change the fucking weather. You ain't got shit on him.
Is this a pickle?
Right, anyone else that I missed? After all that fuss across the kingdom, the one who ended up on the throne was the blood heir after all. Oh, the irony. He had the strength to take down Luis, I'll give him that. But in the end, I guess blood's all that ever matters. He was the only viable choice of the lot. Who knows if he'll be a decent king? Suppose that all depends on what he does next. We did that one. Okay, cool. That is... Oh no, we haven't done you yet. Your Majesty, it's been some time since you've graced us with your presence. What style of igniter may I help you with this time? I jest. I know that's not why you're here. As you can see, it's thanks to you that the Lycaon Magic Association has been able to continue its business. Our king has shown us what magic ought to be. Humans and the other threats still stalk the land, so igniters and their powers have remained an indispensable asset in maintaining the country. All this talk of original magic that doesn't rely on igniters, it's going to take some time to make it viable. We'll continue to produce igniters with pride, helping to bridge this era with the next. Love to get a pride igniter. Very cool. Right, I think that is actually everyone now, so that's also all the NPCs done, so let's do Neurus next.
But
I appreciate how good the environment is, but... What's up, old chap? Oh, what brings His Royal Majesty here? Come to feel the wind on your face too, have you? I know how it is. I've the fancied old title of Chief Engineer of the Kingdom Infrastructure Development Bureau, and can research as I please now, but something's missing. So I threw off that stuffy old uniform and came to gaze upon the runner in the way I do. I know how you feel.
About that. Oh.
I knew you'd agree. I think my bones are aching to feel the wind. I rather miss the days of dashing hither and thither in the runner. Not that I'm ungrateful for the gracious title you've given to a man who used to skulk about modifying gauntlet runners. You haven't seen anything yet. Why, one day I'll invent a teleportation device that will deliver fresh fish straight from Oceania to your palatial plates. It would change the world, wouldn't you say? I'm just a bit, stuck at the beginning on the development.
Indeed.
And it's times like this I need stimulation of the mind. You have anything that might do a trick? Do I smell another relic hunt? Don't pretend you didn't enjoy it. Every time you'd pop back in with one, I remember how I could hardly contain my excitement. I do so miss traveling like that. Even if the relics themselves were better off left untouched, they've become the guiding principles of my research, you know. Convenience is important, but one must consider safety and the effects it might have on the world. An engineer who dumps a burden on future generations is no engineer at all.
However,
still, it's no small feat to design with a perfect balance of safe and revolutionary. Even I struggle with it, and I'm a bally genius. Ah, I knew it. What I need is stimulation. Your Majesty. You know, like the soul-shaking speed... Oh, he was going to say lad, I see. You know, like the soul-shaking speed and quiver of a drive engine. You'll let me know if you ever want to go out for a spin, won't you? Ah, dear old girl, sparkling clean and always ready for takeoff. Nice. Good chat. Good chat. Stroll! He is truly something. What?
Hey.
Skulking about the city again, are we? Which is to say, Hulkenberg is on the hunt. The classic game of cat and mouse, though who is which, I dare not say. It's been a year since you ascended the throne, but it's like you've hardly changed. Should I be more pretentious?
No.
Yeah, that's rich. All that royal blood in you is positively wasted, my friend. What are we to do with you? Not that I can talk. I actually came out for a bit of a breather myself.
So.
You know, I see now that even those at the top have their struggles, a little too clearly. A general's duties feel overwhelming at times. But there are lives hanging in the balance. I recognize the weight of every decision I make, and I do find satisfaction in protecting those lives. Remember our first meeting back at the recruitment center? I, a fallen noble with nothing to my name, and you, a struggling elder traveler. Back then, my only goal was getting ahead. My people were little more than an afterthought. If I hadn't met you, I'd never have realized the truth about my fortune, my father's intentions, and I certainly couldn't have saved the Hallions. I owe seeing the joy in their faces to you. I think I've said it before, but again, thank you. Give yourself some credit.
No.
I would still owe any credit I could take to you for showing me the way. They live stable, peaceful lives thanks to you. You've a whole country on your shoulders now. The road ahead will be full of challenges we can't possibly foresee. But show me the way, and I'll blaze the trail. Now and always, it's my role as a warrior to be the vanguard.
That's why.
Our titles may have changed, but I'd like to think our friendship is steadfast as ever. Don't hesitate to rely on me, now and always.
Say that.
Nice. Hulkenberg.
Ah, good.
What did she say, sorry?
Ah, goodness.
How utterly uninspiring. Beady-boo.
Come now.
When you finish your business outside the palace, please promise me you'll return to resume your duties, Your Majesty. If you take this as my pressuring you not to venture out, that's not it at all. Only that, as Captain of the Royal Guard, I must know your whereabouts at all times. Relax. Lighten up. You mean to say I am too fussy? Well, 'tis only proper for the Captain of the Royal Guard. To be over-familiar would set a poor example. Imagine the scandalized faces of the rank-and-file guard.
Of course.
That said, not a day goes by that I don't reflect on our travels now only a year past. I owe regaining my pride as a knight to that journey. I was but a wanderer searching in vain for the prince, and it was through you I learned he yet lived. And in the end, it was your ascent to the throne I supported.
And so?
I never tire of the faces the younger guards make when I tell them of the time you acted as witness to my duel. Ah, Rodanthe. Yes, Thanks to you, I was able to face him with eyes forward and put my past behind me. I am pleased to say the knights of today are nothing like what they were under Rodanth's command. Soldiers take up their sword, not for those in power, but for the people.
Well.
Whoops. But for the people. And as the champion of the people yourself, we will do all in our power to protect you, our king.
Well.
You do not make it easy by sneaking out of the palace as you do, though I suspect the soldiers are getting used to your chaotic tendencies. They know they protect not just a king, but a ruler who stands beside his people and hears their voices in clarion truth.
This I vow.
I will protect you with my life, as I have always endeavored to do, your majesty. Only let me stay by your side to do so. Yeah, most of the time. Hi, May. Everything is different now. Ha ha ha, hi, May. Ha ha ha, hi, May.
Oh,
Well, well, I see our king is out on some personal business, eh? I believe Hulkenberg was searching for you, but I suppose it's none of my business who comes or goes. I'm on break myself.
just
Only try not to frustrate your royal guards overmuch, They all take their duties quite seriously, much like their captain. Bah, who am I kidding? A knight who smiles is surely a myth. That's become clear to me since becoming titled. What could be more bizarre? A UGV outcast, once a wanted criminal with a bounty on his head, made knight commander. There was of course some opposition at first, but the more heart-to-heart talks I've had, the more accepting they've become, albeit gradually. An outcast can become king too.
true.
Indeed, you face no shortage of persecution, and look at you now. Grand titles and posts across the nation are no different, spread across all the tribes. I've realized over the past year just how much a nation is defined by its people. No matter how great a king, he alone does not a country make.
However,
Yet he stands for those very people as symbol and representative. That the king and those around him are of mixed tribes, it has already caused a great shift in sentiment, even for those in rural villages. How's Tadari?
Now that you mention it.
yes.
He seems as busy as he can handle, now that they've resumed trade with other villages. Your coronation inspired that village to greater heights. It proved that barriers can be broken, and that even they could take the first step. New winds are blowing in every corner of this country. I'll have to make another trip back home with my son to see the changes for myself soon enough. And someday, I hope distant generations will grow up only knowing conflict born of tribal differences from history books.
We shall.
We've a ways to go before that day comes, but until it does, let us forge the path towards it, Your Majesty. Lovely. Sorry, Basilio, I'm going in order, so I'll be back to see you real soon.
My king.
I'm sure he hasn't changed a bit. Bum bum ba-dum ba-dum. Man, my voice is getting so fucking tired and worn down. Oh boy, only 3 more people and then hopefully voice cutscenes to the end. That's what I'd like.
My king.
Oh, there you are, Will. Heard you were in town, so I decided to see if we might cross paths. I have so much to tell you about my inspection, so I'm afraid you'll need to clear your diary for me soon. Inspection of the Mage Academy, I assume? Bring any souvenirs?
In that case.
Gosh.
Let's just focus on the report. Don't worry, I'll give you just the gist. Firstly, the Mage Academy's reconstruction is going swimmingly. Repairs are in full swing, and we're already processing admissions. I must say, I'm still surprised you appointed me, of all people, to be the Academy's headmistress. I was rather looking forward to going back on tour as a songstress. Oh, and shall I introduce you to my furry little friend? I scooped him up in the Academy of all places. Wait, it is? It is actually? During the reconstruction, they stumbled on the little guy in some kind of observatory, supposedly used by a king long ago. Considering the igniter around his neck, I'm sure he was being taken care of. I mean, there's no way a cat could survive alone in that cold, could he?
So,
For like 100 years or something? Not 100 years, but like 20 years or something? It's been ages since the Mage Academy was shut down, right? Regardless, our mysterious kitty is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the Academy. All that knowledge was lost when it fell, so we're starting from scratch. It may even be hiding secrets as big as the Dragon Temple or the Sanctum. Oh, and I'm keeping the cat. Feels like fate, you know.
speaking of which,
And speaking of fate, on my way back I met up with Myrtus.
Hold on.
Wait, no, I didn't mean to... God damn it, I didn't realize I was clicking a choice. I know who Mirtus was, but whatever. Ice cold, Your Majesty. Remember the singer who kept trying to take me down a peg a while back? She's fairly well known about town now. We both just kept soaring to new heights. Her in music, and me coming face to face with magic again.
Hey!
Surely you remember, music was the first magic born in this world, yes? When the heart expresses itself through music, it moves the hearts of others, and when they make hearts swell, why, there's no end to the magic. So just you watch. With music and magic at my side, I'm going to change the world. All will have equal opportunity to hone their talents at the Mage Academy. Our doors are open to all. That's what my sister would have wanted, and if it makes the world a better place, why, isn't that just grand?
Magic.
Speaking of Rella, is she still fucking frozen in an ice cube right outside the Mage Academy? Do people have to walk past the corpse of your sister to get in? Rella taught me that magic is more than a tool. It's in all of us, deep in our hearts. No answer on the Rella front, huh?
I do believe.
There is so much I wish to say to you. Is she about to profess her undying love? How's it going? Wait, did I check you?
Wonderful.
I missed these guys!
What am I to do?
This is not the conclusion we wished for. Now that we've lost our leader in the church, what's to become of our lifestyle? Grin and bear it for now. This king's as much a dreamer as the last. He'll be crushed under the weight of his lofty ideals soon enough, I'm sure of it. Okay, good chat.
Greetings.
Working hard as ever, Will. Were you going about town and listening to what the people have to say? Myself, I have just come from the Crown Court, where I've been consulting with the people about their grievances and disputes as Chief Magistrate. Shouldn't you delegate that? That's quite a question I shall throw right back at you, Your Majesty.
In truth.
As you're undoubtedly aware, in the past many citizens were sentenced to hang without so much as a trial. I'm pleased to report things are different now. Anyone, regardless of race or status, can tell their side of the story in court and be judged equally and fairly. It just goes to show, anything is possible, even for a priestess to become a chief magistrate. And my brother is making great strides as village chief. He rather hated the role before, but he's truly found his calling, I think.
The reason is?
As I said, no one knows what the future holds. It's all the more reason I try to guide people to good choices. I want to live in a society that practices kindness, where those who suffer need not turn to crime. And so, I practice what I
Now
preach.
that you mention it.
The other day I went to visit Ovi's church to inquire with those who are sick there about how the kingdom can be more accessible to them. How is Ovi?
Very well.
Yes, we practiced dancing together, and then we showed her mother. All of them are ready to ease into working again. Hearing them made me reflect on all the people who still need our help. Until now, the only hope those people had was God.
I do believe.
I want to fight for them to have options under laws and systems that they can rely on, in addition to higher power. A country where all the tribes with all their values can join hands in harmony. That's what we need. You aim to achieve that too, yes, Your Majesty? I hope you'll allow me to keep walking alongside you in this.
Nice. And last but not least, we have Basilio.
I think things are turning out all right. Good old Basilio. He who started off as a fucking side character that I was like, man, are you just like a nobody? You'll never be important, right? Turned out to be my favorite character in the whole game. It's like incredibly tight between all of the playable cast. I fucking adore every single one of the playable cast, but I do think Basilio just fucking reaches #1 spot. I really love him, man. Hey, out inspecting again? And that's also like so impressive for the person that joined the crew last. Like, he was in it for longer. Like, he was in it for longer than you for overall and stuff. So it's not like, it's not exactly that he was the last, but he's one of the last one to officially join and actually be playable and stuff, and still made himself into my favorite. It's like, yeah, it's very cool. I love what they did with him. Hey, out inspecting again? Seems a right pain to me, but I appreciate you going to all the effort. Making your rounds, Basilio?
Hey.
Yeah, captain of the Tradian Brigade reporting in, and I'm pleased to report that there's nothing to report, Your Majesty, so I'm taking a break. Bit of a mouthful, innit? Still not used to calling myself a captain, besides. We've even taken in some survivors from Luis's troops, you know, but don't you worry, I've got 2 eyes on them even when I ain't looking. Way I see it, they weren't the ones trying to make the world worse. I just gotta show them how power is supposed to be used, yeah. We owe it to you that there's less discrimination in the city these days. Fewer and fewer are turning to a life of crime to make ends meet. If Del could see Grand Trad today, his eyes would bug out. And not just Del, a lot of guys who didn't make it. Vinka.
Yeah.
You remember him? Those damned experiments trapped him in a vengeance he couldn't see past. But I feel like even he might smile, seeing what I'm up to now. We built this piece. That guy had bear ears. Have I seen any Parapus with bear ears before? We built this piece with a lot of blood and tears, so I say those of us who made it this far owe it to all of them who didn't to protect it. Maybe I've got nothing to report today, but it's not like bad people just stop being bad because you're king now.
Thank you.
You've been through a lot though, so thanks for not giving up on us. Or the world for that matter. You spot any trouble that I didn't spot first, you just point me at it. I'll solve it quick like. There we go. That is it. Apart from Gallica. Will we get another main story Gallica one? And Moore's dead, so R.I.P. my guy.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Alright then.
Alrighty.
Let's head there right away.
Dear game, would you like to make all remaining cutscenes voiced, please? Because holy fuck, my voice is literally at death's door. My voice is passing through the pearly gates as we speak.
Amazing.
Say there.
The Reaper has come for it.
So,
I think we've heard all we can from people. Should we head to where Maria is?
that reminds
Let's
me.
go. Being here sure brings back memories. You remember how we came here looking for Maria before the tournament for the throne? She was crying back then, though. She's happy now.
But
You can say that again. This country's turned around since then, no doubt about it. I'm sure there will always be differences of opinion, but your ideals are really coming to fruition now. I can feel it. That reminds me, what's up with the book you're carrying around now? Is that the one you've been working on yourself? I'm excited to see what kind of fantasy you can conjure up. But maybe that's not even the word for it. After all, if you're the one putting it in ink, that means you're going to make it a reality someday. Now then, Your Majesty, shall we get going? Zoomies! Voiced, 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 voiced! Voiced!
Oh.
Yes!
Oh, right. I suppose now I should call you Your Majesty. You know, I was just telling Papa, even through all that mess, everyone's really been working hard.
Am I keeping my promise?
am I keeping my promise properly from back then?
Yes, you beat the villain, and now the city's full of smiles. And I'm sure Papa's smiling down on you too.
That's good. Hearing that from you really lifts my heart.
It's a joy to see kids like her smile. The future changes slowly, and the burden of its momentum will fall on their shoulders one day.
Don't worry. I'll try to do my part with what I've got. I want to help everyone understand that the world could be a better place if we can join hands with one another. Miss Fabian's fed so many hungry people since things changed. Some of those people even said they found their place there. I think I did too. If we can all change together for the better like that, we'll be closer to Your Majesty's and Papa's dream.
A place where I ought to be. A side of myself I ought to show. The path is never clear.
And I want to help with something too. I want everyone across the land to be able to smile.
You make a trusty advisor.
Yes. I expect great things, my trusty advisor.
Yeah. Thank you, Your Majesty. Oh, thank you, Your Majesty.
We should be the ones thanking her. Feels like I can see the entire country's future in her smile.
Whoa, everyone. Hello.
Everyone!
Long time no see. How have you been?
As we find ourselves afield, I thought I might visit Alsace myself.
Hold on a tick. Those people there? Surely not.
Naturally, we're drawing attention. We didn't all have to go at once.
Needn't fuss, old thing. It's been too long since we were all together again anyway.
Lady Tuna, did she really come all this way in a runner? Would have asked His Majesty to pop over and bring you back with a teleport or two.
The unmitigated nerve.
Oh, it's fine. I wanted to take in our country as it is. It's definitely a little rougher outside the capital's walls. There's still traces of melancholia around, and the odd human roaming about.
We're sending soldiers out for every incident we can. But it's not easy to hear the voice of the people from more distant regions.
I guess it's obvious. But just because you're king now doesn't make you suddenly all-seeing.
A lesson I learned last year. In the end, I was blind to a great deal of this world. Never would have learned if I hadn't pushed out the door and seen it with my own eyes.
He's right. The capital can be a bit of a bubble. There will always be more to do and learn beyond its walls.
A year ago, I would have just said we could fly over ourselves. I mean, let's be real. The capital isn't going to fall apart if we just sneak over for a little tour, is it?
Of course not. We specifically put precautions in place to keep things running.
Yet it has only been 1 year. We cannot be too complacent too soon, lest the dissidents seize on the opportunity.
Oh, there he is! Over there! See? I told you, that's His Majesty, innit? Might have been a bit too obvious.
Oi there, Your Majesty!
You dare hoy the king, you swine!
Steady on, Hulkenberg, calm. You didn't draw steel on the poor fellow. We're the ones who indulged in this little day trip.
Your Majesty, thanks for all you do, really. Have to say, my life's a lot easier now.
There's more work to do every day, but we're in this together. We believe in you.
Everyone's so supportive. Kind of brings back memories from last year.
Rather. It's the sort of thing to get a chap all misty-eyed over the past. What a journey it was.
Looks like we're drawing a crowd. Time to get back to work.
Indeed. A veritable mountain of tasks awaits us, and I will see it crested.
And not long after, the new year dawned.
Some days later. Love this map. What a great world map this has been.
A journey? Are you really planning on leaving us?
There's more I have to see.
There's more I have to see. With my own eyes.
You want to know what's going on in the world, huh? Well, I guess you are the king.
Sounds like fun, but a daily jaunt down to the slums is one thing, and a proper journey is quite another. You're a king now, lad. You've got the people's expectations on your shoulders. It's all right to just sit on your throne and mind the home front, you know?
I just want to do what I can.
I want to do what I can for the people. If that's not kingly, then the crown's just slowing me down.
Come on, this is no time for jokes.
Ever the fearless gadabout, eh? Well, I take your point back. Magla and the humans make a fine barometer for the anxiety still swirling in the country. So you go out and give it a proper survey, where it is and how much is there. If people can't face their anxieties, they can't keep their eyes forward. And if they can't do that, we'll have a bally hard time moving forward as a nation or a people. So you want to get a better grasp of it all. That's your most important duty as a ruler. That's what you're thinking, eh?
Right.
Even the most faraway future begins with the belief that it can be realized. So I'll press onward. That's the best I can do.
If that was your plan, you could have just said so.
Sounds like a fine idea to me. A proper spot of fun, besides. Wouldn't expect any less from our king and captain. Well, since I'm the ballet court engineer, I've no choice but to come along. I'm the only driver fit to maneuver the Royal Skyrunner after all. Yes, there begins our quest anew. Let us sally forth upon our... hello? Are you not listening to me?
Sire, you've really got to stop chasing these ideas all on your own. It'll be the death of us.
Once again, sire, I've asked you countless times to give word if you're to leave the castle. Such caprice.
Nurse, don't tell me you called for them beforehand.
Saved us a bit of time, eh? Though, hello, what's this? I count only 2 of the 6 partisans. Short a few spears.
For my part, I believe 'tis unrealistic for all of us to depart the capital together.
Oh, so you have no plans to stop our little adventure, eh?
Hulkenberg and I talked it over. We decided that if you insist on going, we'd rather go with you than stop you.
Are you sure?
Are you sure about this?
I was thinking back to our last fight with Luis. So many people supported us, but not for any high-minded ideals or arguments.
They were supporting us because we were actively fighting a monster on their behalf. In the end, people make choices based on their personal experience and emotion. Even if decided justly and supported by prosperity, the people may struggle to trust a king whose face they do not know. An invisible ruler is no cure for their fears.
Right. I'm not opposed to the idea of getting out into the world again. Really, it might be the wisest move to make sure you're a king everyone knows.
My friends and allies believe as I do. Their support is the greatest treasure I could have.
Still, this early into the new year? 'Tis never a dull moment in your Majesty's employ.
Heh. My bad.
It's a smaller party than we last set out with, huh? But it's a pleasure to be on the road again with you.
Okay, but can we really afford to have both our general and the Royal Guard's captain coming along for this?
'Tis natural course for the Royal Guard to accompany the king. And I trust my corps is not so feeble that it will fall apart in my absence.
We'll make it work. Got to learn to trust others and delegate, right? We'll just have to lead by example.
Then let's go.
Right then, let's go.
You once heard my voice and answered a query in kind. Is fantasy a powerless creation? A timeless question. So long as life remains in the world, we seekers all shall search for our answer, but he will find his. Of that I am certain. And it is thanks to you for believing in and guiding him. That was the true purpose of my royal magic, you know. To seek and obtain guidance from denizens of a land beyond ours. A land that has not yet lost hope. And it was you who answered the call. Armed with your hope, armed with the power of fantasy, you rose in glory. Such courage, such whimsy, and yes, what thrills. You have my sincerest thanks.
Aww. Final cutscene. It's gotta be. Gotta be. Here we go.
Feels familiar. It's been far too long.
Aye, the wind feels an echo of days past.
Unusually poetic for you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Esme. Hello.
They're all
Wait, is everyone here?
They would have left us
Yay!
behind. Oh.
Well, I'm not certain we're in a position to talk, having followed straight after, saying we could just teleport back.
Well, hey, we figured the kids might want to change your scenery, like.
Oh, hey, Maria.
Wow.
Is it her first time outside Grand Trap?
Poetic indeed. That the scepter's absence
Finally gets to
restored order
see
Magla,
potentially the
and
things
even
we showed her
Greenwich
pictures of.
stands.
You better!
Let's go.
Beautiful. There we go. Credits. Oh my god. What a fucking game. What an absolutely incredible game. Katsura Hashino, my guy, you are incredible. What a... You just fucking made an absolute masterpiece here. Shoji Meguro as well, composer, just insane soundtrack. A soundtrack unlike any I have ever heard, and absolute fucking peak. And all of these other people, everyone who designed character art and anything, like writing the characters, writing the script, designing anything, battle systems. It's just peak after peak after peak. Main scenario planners, you three, I love you. Follower planners, you 6, I love you. All of you. My god. I really, after Persona 5 Royal, I loved that so much. I really thought that, like, no game would be able to beat it as my favorite game of all time. There's also Red Dead Redemption 2, which is right up there. Sometimes those have flipped around, but both of them definitely eclipsed by this now. This is my new favorite single-player game of all time. Specifies to the single-player because there's also FF14, which I love dearly, and that's an MMO, so I can sort of couch that as being my favorite multiplayer game, and this is my favorite single-player game. But yeah, no, this was just absolute fucking masterpiece level work in pretty much every aspect. The only, like, I had some really minor gripes, but there was, there were a couple I remember griping about, like, once or twice, but they were so minor, I can't even remember what the fuck they were. Oh, that was it. Like, the equipment menu. A bit rubbish. Not rubbish. Rubbish is too strong. A bit mid compared to previous equipment menus where it was clearer to see what went in what slot and who had access to what and why. That kind of thing. You know, it was a little bit of an unclear equipment menu, but, you know, that was what, I probably spent, out of my 120 hours or whatever, I probably spent an hour maybe at most in the equipment menu, so, you know, it's fine. It is fine. And then in terms of story, like, the best story Atlus has ever told, one of the best stories I've experienced in gaming, fantastic stuff. Loved the way it escalated and grew over the course of the game. Just perfect, like, JRPG scaling. You know, you start off with small things, you escalate all the way till you're killing God, essentially. I'm really glad that they didn't do the classic, like, you know, you kill Luis and there was a greater evil all along controlling him or whatever. I'm really glad that from the fucking start to the very end, Luis was the villain. Luis was your target, the one you were going after the entire time. Reasons changed and stuff, because originally it was obviously to break the curse, and that changed later on, but he remained the main villain for the entire time. There was no bait and switch on the villain, and he stuck true to his ideals, we stuck true to ours, and clashed over that, and I thought that was fantastic, the way they did that. And obviously with the JRPG power scaling thrown in so that he fucking becomes a god at the end, so, you know, very cool stuff. But yeah, I really loved that they stuck with the one main villain, and they really, like, fleshed him out and made him a believable character that you can see where they're coming from. You don't agree with them, but you can see it, and, you know, I thought they did a fantastic job with that. Definitely one of the best villains I've had in a game for a long time, as well as just the overall story being one of the best. The followers were all so good. All of the social link follower stuff in this game was so fantastic. There wasn't a single one that I didn't want to continue. There was not a single one that was shit or just boring or mid or anything. They were all fucking great. They were written so well. They had intriguing stuff going on with them. There was always something to look forward to with every single one. They were tied to good upgrades for combat and the world and everything. Always was nice to see what the new thing we were going to unlock from them was. It would have been really nice if they could have all been voiced. As it was only rank 1 and rank 8 that were voiced. But, you know, maybe something for next time. But, yeah, no, they were all just fantastic. Because the previous Atlus games I've played, there have been some shit ones. There have been some dud ones, like Oya in P5. And fucking the guy who wants to shag his teacher in P3. I can't even remember what his name was. But like, there were some real duds in the past. But this game, just fucking excellent ones the whole way through. And then we come to the combat, I guess, which was such a fucking awesome iteration on the, like, Atlus staple of SMT and Persona sort of way of doing combat. I really like the press turn system, which I believe is ripped straight from SMT. I hadn't experienced that before because I haven't played SMT, I've only played Persona, but I believe that is ripped from there, and that was an excellent new take on it compared to how Persona does it. Really enjoyed that, and I love the archetype system, man. It is so more freeing than Persona's, because obviously in Persona, you are the only person that can swap around, and everyone else is stuck with what they've got. And the fact that this allows you to have everyone be anything offers so many more build crafting options, and like everyone can take things in their own direction. And obviously it's going to wrap around to the royal ones at the end, so everyone will probably end up aiming for the same thing, but in the fucking, like, 100 hours in the middle, you can do whatever the fuck you like, and I love that. I really love how many options it gives you, and it's just such a fun system with the way you can inherit skills over, and obviously that is tied into the follower rank ups, and the way the synthesis works, and the weakness, meaning that if you hit a weakness with the synthesis, you still get those 2 turns, so it's like really rewarding gameplay if you do get the right things there and stuff, whereas in Persona, it doesn't always feel particularly rewarding to be hitting weaknesses. I don't know, like, it does and it doesn't, but it definitely feels more rewarding here. And, yeah, there's a lot more, it feels like there was a lot more to it here, I guess, than there is in Persona. And, I also especially loved that I didn't have to fucking fuse together all my Personas and shit, because that's definitely, like, my least favorite part of Persona, is having to do all the fusing and bringing skills forward and creating new Personas and all that jazz. I hate that. I really do not enjoy that part of Persona, the actual creation of the Personas themselves. Whereas in this, it's like, no, they have what they have, and you are free to unlock them, but you don't need to go around combining them and spending fucking ages in the menu trying to find new ones that you can combine with each other to make even stronger ones, and all that. Does this one have any more magic than this one? And like, it doesn't. It's just, they each are their own unique thing, and they will each work in different scenarios, and if you want to use them, you can use them, and they're all there, and it just feels so much better that way. I really, really love that. Really love that. And also the fact that you don't have to go and get like a specific Persona to come and rank up your follower. You don't get more points by having the Persona with you. No, instead, and even the dialogue options, it's not like that's another like major thing, is that if you go and spend time with your follower, they rank up. That's it. No questions asked. Every time, it's a rank up. And the benefits you get from choosing options that are better suited for them is that you get currency from it. You get mag from it. Instead of it being like, oh, well, you actually fucked this up, and so you're just not going to rank up, and now you've wasted a whole day slot and stuff. And that was just such a massive change that you know that every time you go see a follower, you're not going to waste the day. And you don't need to go and faff around getting something to make it more likely they'll rank up. No, you just go to them, and you talk to them, and you experience the story, and they rank up. Guaranteed. Huge positive over Persona. And, yeah, it's just like, in basically every facet of this game, I just thought they iterated upon their past work and made it better. Just improvements in every area. I'm trying to think of anything that I would say that is worse. I guess I would say that the side dungeons, well, I guess Persona's side dungeon was just mementos, and that was just one big samey thing. So the side dungeons in this did get a bit samey. Granted, they weren't RNG, so that's good. They were handcrafted, but they were very sort of similarly handcrafted. A lot of corridors, a lot of, you know, it's just sort of grid-based, and there wasn't too much to those. The main dungeons were great. Really enjoyed the main dungeons. But, just had to let that music play for a moment there. But, yes, no. Maybe if the side dungeons were a little more exciting, that would have been good. But, yeah, no, the main cast, just fucking fantastic. Adored each and every one of them. These are characters I'm going to be remembering forever. These are characters I will be buying the fucking statues of As soon as they start coming out, add them to my statue collection. I just adore them. Man. Actual near perfect game. Masterpiece game. Atlus, Sega, thank you so much for making this. The directors, the devs, everyone who worked on each aspect of this. I just want to fucking ring them up personally and thank them for creating Peak. The
Dear
Great
guest,
Seeker, Son.
From a world I shall never know. In your eyes, I know our journey was ultimately a fiction. However, I hope your memories of this fantastical adventure burn as bright in your reality.
They do.
I hope the promise of our world echoes in you.
It does.
With all my heart, I hope that fantasy gives you strength.
Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Oh, there's another cutscene. You're spoiling me, game. Oh my god, the amount of that's another fucking positive. Is the amount of actual proper full-on cutscenes like this in this game is fucking leagues beyond the Persona games I've played. It's like triple, quadruple the amount.
The rubble's just bait for tourists now.
I never expected a view like this.
Let's see it all. Let's see the world.
Yeah.
A new journey now beckons. In days of Eld, the people prospered and perished in turn. Struck by their ways, I wrote a book of my dearest ideas. A tale of fantasy. In my vision, they placed their trust, and so the kingdom breathed new life.
The strength to believe in the unknown, that can change everything. Without a doubt, you will face all sorts of trials ahead. But carry onward with all your heart. Onward, fearless, into a world unknown.
Fantasy lives on. I love that. If you die, you get fantasy is dead as the death screen. You beat the game, fantasy lives on. By saving your clear data, certain things can transfer over as is to a new game. You can transfer currently owned items, money, mag, royal virtues, scanned enemies, memorandum, archetype statuses, and total playtime. Save clear data. What is it? What is our final number? 119 hours, 37 minutes. We so nearly hit the 120. Oh my god. There it is. There it fucking is. Ladies and gentlemen, what an incredible experience. I hope you have loved this just as much as I have, because this has just been phenomenal. Something I will never forget, and I'm very grateful that they made it, and I hope that they make a sequel, because I don't know if Persona 6 is going to be able to live up to this now. I didn't think anything could live up to P5R, so I'm happy to be wrong, so it could happen again, but like, this was so my shit. This was so made specifically for me and my likes and what I exactly wanted, that it feels like nothing else they could ever make could do this again. So, man, like, I'm very grateful to have experienced it, but I hope they can come close to this again in future. I don't know if Persona can do it, but they'll surely be making a Metaphor 2, right? Right, dev team? You're going to make a Metaphor 2, right? Please? So, I guess I will see you in 2032 for that. Should be good. But anyway, with that, that is where we are wrapping up this series. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. If you have, if you could leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share the videos around, share the playlist around if you can. I would really appreciate that. And if you really like what I do here, there is a Patreon link in the description. Anything you could afford to send my way would be hugely helpful with the ongoing running of the channel, the buying of these new games at launch, all that jazz. I would massively appreciate any support over there. And with that, I will see you somewhere else for something new. Thanks for watching. See you then.